of Directors. I'd like to welcome all to the committee meetings this morning, July 3rd, 2024. This meeting is being live streamed from the boardroom at the M.U.D headquarters building located at 7350 World Communications Drive, and a recording of this meeting will be uploaded to the M.U.D website after the meeting's conclusion. I'd like to invite Vice President of Safety and Security Shane Hunter to provide a briefing regarding protocol for individuals in attendance at the board meeting today in the event of an emergency. Good morning, Shane.
Good morning. Shane Hunter, Vice President of Safety and Security. We are on the first floor here at M.U.D headquarters, and the normal entry and exit is through these doors at the rear. Everyone will notice there is also this alternate exit over here on the right, and behind that door is a hallway, and in that hallway is the nearest fire extinguisher, first aid kit, and a little farther down on your right is the nearest AED. With the location of that AED in mind, if I could have a show of hands, who's CPR and AED trained in the room? Oh, very good. Thank you. And if there should be a need for a medical emergency today, 911 will be contacted by the security staff who will then escort medical personnel into this space. It is severe weather season, just as we don't expect it today, but as a reminder, the severe weather shelter is in the same hallway through that door to the right. And should we need to evacuate this space and the building for any reason today, we'll go through the same door, two lefts, meet up in the parking garage for accountability. That concludes the safety briefing.
Thank you, Shane. Roll call, please.
Sidzik.
Here.
McGowan.
Here.
Howard. Here. Kavanaugh.
Here.
Begley.
Here.
Cook. Here. Friend.
Here.
I'd like to advise all those in attendance that a copy of the Open Meetings Act is available on the wall in the back of the room. Senior Vice President and Chief Operations Officer Kendall Miner will provide an update on the district's response to the recent flood event. Good morning, Kendall.
Good morning, and thank you. You know, the potential to have a flooding event here is something that we've gone through and experienced a couple times over the past decade or so here. This picture depicts and shows the river level at 8 foot in January of 2024 versus last week where the level was at 32 feet. With that in mind, whenever we have a potential flooding event or where our team has to respond, for me, it's a great testament to how the team responds. And I'm very pleased to say that our team responded very well. It was a team effort from safety and security, communications, all hands on deck, construction, but really to our new VP of Water, did a really good job of helping corral the team leading that effort. The director, Melissa Polito at the Florence plant, did a really good job of getting the team, rallied together, making sure we had sand, making sure we had all the preparations we need in place. Very responsive to the potential of flooding. If we would have had any flooding, to the facility, we were prepared. Sandbags were ready to go. I mean, it was just a really good team effort in how they responded. We're very proud to say that I was pleased to see how the team responded, how they reacted, and I just really wanted to make sure that I highlighted that aspect of it for our team because they did a really good job in the face of adversity. So, any questions? I wanted to make sure I had a follow up to the communication that was sent to the board last week. So just wanted to say that and see if you guys had any questions or concerns. The plant held up well. We saw some change in conditions on the raw water feed into the plant. All the equipment held up well. The team responded well. We adjusted our chemicals as needed to make sure we had our water quality standards for the state of Nebraska. I mean, it was just a great effort all around. So kudos to our team, and I just wanted to make sure I highlighted that. Any
Thank
questions?
you. Please proceed. Thank you.
Yeah. All right, so this month we only have 4 total items, 2 items for buildings, plants, and equipment, 2 items for system improvements. On the first item for building plants and equipment, I would like to highlight the OPPD gas meter set, $76,500. This was awarded to CHI performing the design for the gas meter set for OPPD's power plant for North Omaha. Existing has 6 individual gas meter sets. 2 new meter sets will be have been designed and will be installed. There are 2 new ultrasonic meters that will be configured with M.U.D SCADA system for real-time monitoring. These meter sets will be designed to handle additional gas loads for units 4 and 5 when they are converted to gas. So any questions on that item?
Kendall, I have a question for you. And is there a reason why this seems like an in-house project to me. Is there a reason why our engineering staff why are we hiring somebody to do this? Don't we have the horsepower to do it?
Great question, and I'll defer to Jim Knight on that to get more detail. But I will say that this was a part of the original, I think, design for the upgraded LNG, as well as a combination for the North Omaha Power Plant. We do have engineering in-house design, but we didn't have the capacity in-house to do that design at the time. That's why it was bidded out and awarded to CHI. But I'll ask Jim to come up and give more detail if needed.
Good morning, Jim Knight, Vice President, Gas Operations. As Kendall was saying, as part of the LNG capital improvement project, we designed a new meter set with similar metering as well, which was done by CHI. And then we hired CHI to also do the meter set for Standing Bear, which had similar metering. So just for consistency, that's why we've recommending to hire CHI for this meter set. It's not that we couldn't do it internal, it was that they had done it previously at two cases.
So when you're mentioning the CNG upgrade, the connection is that they did a similar design at CNG, not that the CNG has something to do with this meter set?
No, it was just a similar design because we installed a new ultrasonic meter for the LNG upgrade to measure the increased vaporization output. And we're also installed a similar meter set for OPBD at Standing Bear. So we hired CHI to do that as well. So just for consistency, we're recommending.
So maybe this is part of, I'm not an engineer, but if we've seen this done twice, we have to hire them to show us how to do it a third time? I mean, it seems like we wouldn't know how to do it by the first two times. I'm just trying to understand.
No, it's not that we don't know how to do it. We were just trying to, from a consistency standpoint, we're recommending to do CHI again. It's not that engineering couldn't do it, but.
I mean, does it
If you couldn't, then why didn't you? If you could do it, you said it's not that they couldn't, then why didn't you?
We were, just for consistency, that was the reason why we recommended CHI.
So the ratepayers, we tell them for consistency, we spent $76,000. Not because we couldn't do it, but just for, am I off the beam here? I'm looking at my.
No, thank you, Dave.
I don't
Thank
get it.
you.
And I'm not being accusatory so much as it doesn't make sense to me.
Mark Doyle, President. I would say maybe we bring back some information. To me, maybe it's a cost discussion. Does it cost any more or less to do it with CHI, who is our longtime LNG vendor, which is a specialty?
Yes.
But the metering maybe isn't so much. So why don't we bring back an item to lay out the cost, and consistency aside, if it's the same to do it or we have the resources, we'll
I don't know
take a
what this
look at
would
it.
do to the project, but if it doesn't fatally delay the project, I'd like to lay it over and get more information, because I don't want to spend money we don't have to. And I misunderstood, Jim. What I heard you say is we did it for consistency, not that we could not do it in-house. So that doesn't make sense to me.
Does this include, this price, does it include the meters themselves?
No, it does not. This is just design.
Okay, where do we get the meters from? In-house?
No, this will be
Another vendor?
another vendor. Yeah.
Okay. I just wondered if there was some kind of advantage if we got the meter from them and they installed it with no additional charge. I don't know.
No, it's a separate vendor.
Okay.
Well, I'm with Dave. I think he makes a great point. Thank you, Dave, for being so on top of this. I don't understand why consistency would be the factor. Doing it in-house, we have our people that are real good at things like this, and then we're spending that amount of money. Dave, you may understand this better than I do, but it just doesn't seem to really be the best use of our dollars, for one thing, or our manpower.
Can I'd like to add something. Vice President of Engineering, Masania. Consistency is part of that. One major aspect, and I love when our engineers can learn new designs, expand their portfolio on things that we can apply elsewhere in our system. Ultrasonic meters is definitely outside of our wheelhouse. It's something we'd have to learn. It would take time. And really our gas design experts right now are very engaged with the PHMSA grant. So those resources, it is a big challenge right now, taking on more for our gas design team. So that is part of the reason, as far as consistency goes, time goes, why we didn't take this on in-house with the engineering design team. I wanted to share that.
So ultrasonic meters are different enough that our gas design team doesn't understand them? They're new, or they don't have the bandwidth in terms of time to do this?
It's more the bandwidth side of things. We can learn it. It is very different than a rotary or a diaphragm meter that we see on large commercial, large industrial. It's a very different design that we want to make sure is set up right for this large customer.
Do ultrasonic meters have to be calculated for altitude? Or are they already, is that something that they do outside what our meter shop does?
That is something we'd have to learn for sure, yeah. As far as you know, our rotary diaphragm, those turbine meters that we have in our system, that's all part of the calculation, yeah.
Masa, how much time are we talking then if our engineers took this on? How many staff are we talking? How much time are we talking to learn this particular type of implementation?
I'd have to give that some more thought, knowing that we do have timelines for the PHMSA grant and making sure we get those projects out the door to keep our construction crews busy. And the feedback from the PHMSA grant group that they want to see us progressing, we put that as a priority. So to bring a new engineer, have them understand kind of our baseline measurement design criteria, and then learn something new, it could be months and months. I'm shooting from the hip right there.
Masa, do you have openings right now for engineering staff, for engineers themselves?
We do, yes.
Roughly how many, if you could ballpark?
You know, we just onboarded somebody this week. We're glad to find a good candidate and bring that person on. I believe we've got, it's 2 openings right now, 1 or 2 openings right now.
So if you had those extra 2, and I realize the one is new, what would that be? What number would that be at for your engineering staff? How many people would that be? Just so I can kind of understand the numbers.
Well, it certainly is a balance as far as you know, doing a design for a single project and then you know, the other projects ahead. And it's not only one gas meter design for OPPD, it's what other projects are ahead. And our staff is strained with the PHMSA grant. So I know I'm not answering that question very well, but we do need more gas design to help with the startup of Gas IR 2.0, and we have the upcoming budget to talk about that and dive further into that.
I guess where my head is at with this, and maybe I'm wrong, Mark, I'm looking at you, Mr. Doyle, when I say this. If going forward we're going to continue to have these kinds of challenges, notwithstanding you've got some openings now, would it make sense to hire another engineer to do this kind of work going forward, or does it? I'm just throwing that out. It's rhetorical. I don't know what the answer is.
Mark Doyle, President. It almost sounds like, you know, not that we need the extra work. I remember years ago, we were challenging as a board on the transportation side, and management brought back a person power study to kind of show the board where, you know, where the log jams are. Maybe there's a way we could do that, because I would tell you from my perspective, we are taxed so hard, especially with the downtown work that's dropped on us and some of the other things but I think maybe we need to show that a little bit. And we've recently lost 2 key engineers at higher levels, and it really hurts. Yeah. I'll just tell the board that's a different story for different reasons, and that's going to continue to happen. Recruitment's one thing. Retention is a big deal right now, because you can, if you're an engineer with some experience, you can just make a phone call. I've seen it happen. I'm positive of this.
So
my daughter's an engineer. Yeah.
Mr. Minor and Mr. Nia, I don't want to hold this up if it's a fatal delay. I just want to understand why we're spending $76,000 for what I, from my perspective, limited as it might be, look at, boy, this is right in our wheelhouse. Gas meter set design you'd think would be our engineering staff. So
Right.
I don't know if you can get us an answer before we get to the board meeting and vote on this, because I don't want to delay it by withholding that item.
Right.
If that's a fatal design, and then OPPD says, well, you told us you'd have deliverables by this date, and you don't have them, now there's a problem. So
Absolutely.
I don't want to gum up the works, but I want to feel more comfortable.
Right, and we'll get some additional information to you, Director Friend, to make sure we answer all those questions and get back with you before the next board meeting.
But no, it's today before the board meeting.
Oh,
If it's
today
not,
before the board
that's what I'm asking for, is if that's possible, because if we hold it over from today for a month, that's what I'm asking, is that a fatal delay for this project?
It's not.
So for the record, I'm seeing Mr. Knight shake his head no and say it's not a fatal delay. Because I don't want that to be something that, well, Dave Friend held this up, and that's why we can't move forward with it.
Okay.
I just had an idea. I know it's very competitive for many of our professional roles here at M.U.D, and we have a lot of people who've worked here a long time, and I've seen what's gone on in terms of people getting trained in IT. Maybe there's an opportunity, whether it's partnering with educational institutions in town to grow our own, and also retain some folks, because I don't see this problem really going away, especially since, historic weather events, which are now not even historic anymore. A 100-year weather event, and we have 3 of them in a month. You know what I mean? Just an idea. And maybe you already are thinking along those lines.
Well, we have a very, very active internship program now where we're trying to fill that. That's another issue where when you compare us to another engineering firm in town that can give you global experiences, it's a recruitment. But we have had some good interns, and have we onboarded some interns in the last year or 2 or 3? Full-blown engineers, and so we are working real hard at that, and I don't want to go too deep into it, and I'm looking at Bonnie. We have job fairs, we have all kinds of things where we're doing outreach, but you have to convince them why you come to M.U.D. Anything to add on that, Masa? But we agree. We can do more, and
Yeah, it's been a great partnership, team effort with HR on all the different avenues that's out there. And really, it's been a very competitive market in talking with peers in the consulting field as well as other city utilities. There's just a big infusion of construction dollars out there, and they realize you need engineers to get these things built. So they are actively recruiting us, and we're trying to retain and get the best talent on our team. So, yeah.
But there might be some good information on demographic of our engineering group, the aging and what's occurred over the last decade especially. The field has changed, for sure.
I'm thinking that the life-work balance might be different, maybe better for us, and looking across our policies to offer that.
Tanya, that's such a good point. Life-work balance, I think, is a big, big key, which goes back to sick leave policies, as far as I'm concerned, giving people the opportunity to actually have a life outside of their work life. I think engineering is a wonderful field, and I'm certainly glad to hear more women are going into that. Congratulations. That's terrific. But I think we have to be able to offer a good package, as well as a salary. I can see it with my daughter, people are really looking at their lives and their quality of life. So thank you, Tanya.
What I've found locally with the large firms, one I know pretty well, M.U.D's got great benefits, and pay is, somewhat competitive for engineers, but there's other tangibles. In order to retain engineers in those companies, their work-life, they get it. That's not as big an issue for these companies as it used to be, or they would leave. So it's a challenge, there's no doubt about it, and when we lose real key engineers, or anyone for that matter, it hurts, and that's not the usual position we've been in, and it's happening now. A lot of it are work from home opportunities and things that you can go to a private sector, and it's just it's like health care now. We have a policy and it's good, but that isn't a game changer anymore. So, but we're working really hard on it, and it's at the top of our minds because we can't do what we do without our entire company, and the engineering group's a big part of it, huge part of it. Anything? But great questions. I think if the delay's okay, I think it's a great question.
Agreed.
We like to self-perform as much as we can. There's no doubt about that.
Agreed.
So, okay, well, I don't know that we need to do, oh, well, you'll have to figure out the motion when we get there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, along the lines of the gas and theme with system improvements, we've got a system improvement at 156th Street in Rainwood, installing 2,000 linear foot of 4-inch, 60-pound plastic gas main at the cost of $56,300. $56,300. It's basically an interconnect single feed system in the Bennington area. This also increases our gas reliability in that area and provides additional capacity for future growth in that area. And that will be the last item that I have to discuss today. So, any questions?
Thanks, Kendall.
All right, thank you.
Interim Director of Plant Engineering, Adam Gardner, will review the change order number 1, cast iron water main replacement. Good morning, Adam.
Good morning, Adam Gardner, Interim Director of Plant Engineering. Have change order number 1 with Murphy Pipeline Company on tab 6. This is for Water Infrastructure Replacement Project WP 1794. This was a contracted pipe bursting project near South 114th Street and West Central Road in the Prairie Lane neighborhood. After contracts were executed with Murphy Pipeline, M.U.D. Engineering determined that a section of new water main was necessary for the project to eliminate 3 existing dead-end water mains, and also to improve fire flow and service redundancy to the neighborhood in Prairie Lane Elementary School. It was determined that the best option to complete this work was to issue a change order with Murphy Pipeline to add the installation of the new HDP water main. The costs in this change order do include costs to directionally drill a new 6-inch HDP main and also the connections to the pipe bursting portions of the water main. I will note that the unit costs in this change order are no different than the directionally drilling costs that M.U.D. is paying Murphy Pipeline for one other contract that is currently in construction. So there's no additional margin added to the cost because of this change order for this work. Work does continue on this project, and we expect a recommendation for final approval in a few months. Any questions?
Thanks, Adam.
Okay, I go ahead and stay up here. I do have the next agenda item on tab 7. This is for the acceptance of contracts and payments of final estimates. I do have 3 projects on this month's letter. All of them are water development projects. Really only plan to highlight item A. This project was with Kirsten Construction to install water mains in a new subdivision named The Hill, located at North 168th Street and State Street. This was quite a large project. Over 3.5 miles of water main were installed. There were some larger than typical cost savings below the bid price for this project. Kirsten, the installing contractor, was actually installing water main in a neighboring project. So the same contractor was able to eliminate some temporary connections between the 2 different project areas, and we were able to install a portion of new water main over a large storm drain box culvert at the subdivision entrance, rather than boring underneath that was included in the base bid as designed. It was a conservative design assumption to include the more expensive bore and casing under the culvert, but we were actually able to install over to achieve some of the cost savings on this project. Any questions regarding this month's finals letter? Thank you.
Thank you. Vice President of Procurement and Enterprise Services, John Zellers, will now review the bids on materials and contracts. Good morning, John.
Good morning. John Zellers, Vice President of Procurement and Enterprise Services. Bids on materials and contracts may be found under tab 8. There are 2 items that I plan to discuss this morning, and the first may be found at the bottom of page 1. The board may recall in September of 2022 awarding a contract with Customer Advisory Group to implement the Governance, Risk Management, and Compliance, or otherwise termed GRC, module in SAP and redesign business security roles. The project was to improve operational efficiencies, security, compliance, and prepare the current SAP system for the conversion to S/4HANA. Customer Advisory Group was selected through an RFP process in which 5 providers submitted proposals. Customer Advisory Group performed very well, providing a quality project on time and within budget. Based on Customer Advisory Group's recent performance and knowledge of our systems, we are recommending that they provide services to incorporate the enhanced security measures concurrent with the conversion to S/4HANA. The second item may be found in the middle of page 2. We are recommending the purchase of 4 14,000-pound tandem axle trailers from Dual-Lift. Dual-Lift was a successful bidder for the exact same trailer in February of 2023, and they have agreed to hold the pricing. And that's all I plan to discuss, but would be happy to answer any questions.
Yeah, quick question on the IT S/4HANA. I thought you said there were 4 or 5 bids. Did I mishear that? Because the sheet shows 1 sent, 1 received. Am I reading that right?
Yes, that's in 2022 when we went out.
Okay.
Yes, when we went out for the initial RFP for the security enhancements of the existing SAP system. And this is to help take everything that they did within that platform and incorporate that into the S/4HANA.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, thank you.
Thanks, John. Vice President of Engineering, Masa Nia, will now review the proposed main extensions. Hello, Masa.
Morning, Masa Nia, Vice President of Engineering. Pretty short letter behind tab 10 this month. We've got 1 water main extension for the Wicks South Point subdivision. The impact of the water main extension located in District Subdivision 4 includes water service and fire protection of 7 commercial lots and 3 outlots. There are pioneer main fees to existing transmission mains that total approximately $290,000 that we are also collecting from the developer that are in addition to the project costs shown in the letter. That's just part of our contribution to our system for orderly and efficient growth. The project is an example of our continued growth in Sarpy County. I'd like to also point out that this development is outside of our gas service territory, so they will be gas service will be served by others. So there's not a gas main extension request coming ahead in front of this board. That's all I plan to speak to this month for this letter, and would be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Masa.
Thank you.
Vice President of Human Resources, Bonnie Savine, will now review employee wage and/or salary increases and ratifications. Good morning, Bonnie.
Good morning. Bonnie Savine, Vice President, Human Resources. I will recap quickly counts for the end of June 2023 and 24. At the end of June for 2023, we had 883 regular full-time employees and 4 regular part-time employees for a total of 887. And June 30th of this year, we had 894 regular full-time employees and 4 regular part-time for a total of 898 regular employees. There were also 18 temporary part-time employees. That was comprised of 17 interns and 1 temporary part-time employee. Looking briefly at a review of jobs actively in the job placement process, we have 3 jobs that are requested at this time, and they are routing through the job description and requisition approval process. We also have 7 jobs that are currently posted for application. 4 are external only. Those are seen on the screen: Engineer 1 and Engineer 2 in design, Mechanic 1 and security, cybersecurity administrator. We also have 3 that are posted internally only right now. So 10 jobs additionally are in the application review or interview stages, and we will move forward with hiring folks as those selections are made. Behind tab 11, you'll find the wage and/or salary increases and ratifications letter. Human Resources is recommending the Board of Directors approve wage or salary increases for 28 employees this month. 20 OAC employees are receiving wage increases due to promotion or reevaluation. 5 OAC employees will receive wage increases due to job progression. And then we also have 3 employees that are recommended for salary increases in SPA jobs as well. And that is the end of the letter. Are there any questions?
Bonnie, I have one real quick. You mentioned 17 interns.
Correct.
Where are they located? What units or departments? Can you break that out?
I cannot tell you exactly where all 17 are, but I can say we have some interns in our engineering group, as well as our GIS and CAD. GIS and CAD are separate, but they're all under engineering. We have some in corporate communications and customer experience. We have one in the HR department. I think we have some in IT. We are hiring one. We have one in accounting. We are hiring one under business continuity, under safety and security. They might be onboarded now, and I don't know if I'm missing any. We have one in water. Mr. Whitfield has raised his hand. And so we really are working to onboard interns in as many of our administrative and operations areas as possible so that we can take advantage of utilizing students and some of the fresh perspective that they bring into the organization, and they acquire some real-life work experience. And certainly if things work out and we have openings and they meet the qualifications, then we can onboard them as a regular employee with some experience.
Are these full-time or part-time or what?
That varies. And this time of year, a lot of the interns are working more hours because they're not in school. But during the school year, that typically reduces.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
It's great to really hear the background of our interns, and it is an opportunity to make a great impression, and I try to meet with them as new employees, and there are young people that will stay here if we can make it work because they do see the value of working on a public water system or an energy. That does make a difference, and the impression we make right now, many of you might know from young people you've experienced that have been here, they talk about it like one of the greatest things and if we can keep them, we will. And when we mention IT and engineering and some of those professional roles, their background, they're ready if we can make it work. This isn't just, so we really appreciate your support of, we still refer to it as summer help now and then, but we're turning into an internship program, so thank you for asking. We have those too. Yeah, and that's different. That might be mowing and those sort of things, and that's great too. It's all good in the trades.
With that, are there any members of the public in attendance today who would like to address the board for any reason? Seeing none, do any board members have any further comments?
I do. There was a news story this week. I don't know if many of you caught it or not. It was an actual news story, not talk show, not anything, not speculation. Nebraska was the 5th lowest for energy costs in the whole country. And I think that's a real testament to public power, public utilities. So congratulations to all of us, all across Nebraska.
George Norris is smiling somewhere.
Yes. Director Kavanaugh and I spoke about this, and I'm going to go look it up, and maybe we'll bring back a little information if it's anything other than what you heard. But you can't be a low-cost public power state without natural gas backup. It's impossible. You can say it's a fossil fuel, whatever. You cannot have renewables without natural gas backup. And I hope Mr. Knight's smiling. I'm going to keep saying this till someone tells me I'm wrong so we can have a really good conversation about it. So hats off, thanks for bringing that up, and I hope our neighbors, I always say neighbors because we were downtown so long, you can't have it. It's a great partnership, and we just talked about that with the LNG upgrade and that property where OPPD's building their energy plant. So wind and sun is great, but when it's not working, natural gas kicks in and makes all the difference. So thanks for bringing that up.
And again, it was the lowest energy costs. That would be power and natural gas, water utilities, all combined energy costs in total. So everybody shares in that.
I'm just taking a little credit for the electrical costs too. Sure.
Well, I have
I'm going to keep poking that bear.
I have another
That bear,
opportunity.
get it?
I have another opportunity for credit to be taken. I really appreciate our workers and the quality and timely job they did over at about in the vicinity of 62nd and Center. What a massive, big job, and they got that done. And people could drive on Center Street again. Basically, I was really impressed with how efficient they were and what a great job our workers did. So thank you to them.
Yeah, I want to reiterate what you just said, Director Howard. I was shocked at how quickly Center Street opened based on the estimates that came out on that, and that was a good team effort. That was a major, difficult break at a really tough time. So thank you for calling that out.
Seeing no further comments, the committee meeting has concluded. We will reconvene. We'll take a 10-minute break. We'll be back at 9 o'clock. I'd like to call the meeting to order. My name is Jim Begley. I'm the chairperson of the Metropolitan Utilities District Board of Directors. I'd like to welcome you to the regular monthly board meeting this morning on July 3rd, 2024. This meeting is being live streamed from the boardroom at the M.U.D headquarters building located at 7350 World Communications Drive. And recording this meeting will be uploaded to the M.U.D website after the meeting's conclusion. Roll call, please.
Sidzik.
Here.
McGowan.
Here.
Howard. Here. Kavanaugh.
Here.
Begley.
Here.
Cook.
Here.
Friend.
Here.
I'd like to advise all those in attendance that a copy of the Open Meetings Act is available on the wall in the back of the room. For those who'd like to participate, we will recite the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Approval of minutes for the committee meetings and regular board meeting for June 5th, 2024. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Sidzik.
Yes.
McGowan.
Yes.
Howard.
Yes.
Kavanaugh.
Yes.
Begley.
Yes.
Cook.
Yes.
Friend.
Yes.
Director Friend.
Item number 5, capital expenditures. This was discussed in committee, and I move approval as outlined in the memo from Mr. Kendall Minor dated June 25th, with the exception of job number 1 under buildings, plants, and equipment. That should come back to us with more information next month.
Second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Sidzik.
Yes.
McGowan.
Yes.
Howard.
Yes.
Kavanaugh.
Yes.
Begley.
Yes.
Cook.
Yes.
Friend.
Yes. Item number 6, which is change order number 1, cast iron water main replacement, 114th Prairie Lane to Elm Street. Also discussed in committee. I move approval as outlined in the memo from Adam Gartner dated June 12th.
Second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Sidzik.
Yes.
McGowan.
Yes.
Howard.
Yes.
Kavanaugh.
Yes.
Begley.
Yes.
Cook.
Yes.
Friend.
Yes. Item number 7, acceptance of contracts and payment of final estimates, also discussed in committee. I move approval as outlined in the memo from Adam Gartner dated June 19th.
All right, second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Sidzik.
Yes.
McGowan.
Yes.
Howard.
Yes.
Kavanaugh.
Yes.
Begley.
Yes.
Cook.
Yes.
Friend.
Yes. Item number 8, bids on materials and contracts during the month of June, also discussed in committee. I move approval as outlined in the memo from Sherry Lightfoot dated June 21st.
Second.
Discussion. Discussion. Roll call.
Sidzik.
Yes.
McGowan.
Yes.
Howard.
Yes.
Kavanaugh.
Yes.
Begley.
Yes.
Cook.
Yes.
Friend.
Yes. Item number 9, notices of purchases between $25,000 and $50,000 be placed on file. And item number 10, main extensions. This was discussed in committee. I move approval as outlined in the letter from Masa Nia dated June 24th.
Second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Sidzik.
Yes.
McGowan.
Yes.
Howard.
Yes.
Kavanaugh.
Yes.
Begley.
Yes.
Cook.
Yes.
Friend.
Yes.
Item number 11, wage and/or salary increases and ratifications. I move for approval of the items discussed in committee this morning and outlined in Ms. Savine's memo dated June 21st, 2024.
Second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Sidzik.
Yes.
McGowan.
Yes.
Howard.
Yes.
Kavanaugh.
Yes.
Begley.
Yes.
Cook.
Yes.
Friend.
Yes.
Other matters of district business for discussion. Do any board members have any further comments they wish to share at this time? Seeing none, are there any members of the public present who would like to address the board? Seeing none, do we have a motion to, oh, Mr. Friend.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
I couldn't even get the words out of my mouth. There's been a motion and a second. Is there a discussion? Roll call.
Sidzik.
Yes.
McGowan.
Yes.
Howard.
Yes.
Kavanaugh.
Yes.
Begley.
Yes.
Cook.
Yes.
Friend.
Yes, and I had to get it in before you kept talking.
Goodness, oh my goodness.
Happy 4th, everybody. Be safe.